Namaste, welcome, beautiful souls. So have a cushion or a block or bolster that you can use later and begin on the mat, on your back. If when you're lying flat, your head feels like it's tilted back at all, then just pop a cushion or a jumper or a folded up towel or something underneath your head. You can either stretch the legs out, or you can have knees bent, toes turned in, knees pressed together, or you may wish to bring the soles of your feet together and let the knees drop out to the side. And I invite you to bring your left hand onto your lower belly and just have your left thumb just very gently in contact with your belly button. You don't need to like really poke it in, but just in contact with your belly button. And your right hand resting over the center of your chest, over your heart space. And allow your eyes to soften or close. And stay in this position. I'm going to sit up so I can talk, but stay in this position and take this moment to check in. So just noticing how you feel right this moment in time, and no judgment, no criticism, just checking in. You know, I've spoken to so many people, and myself included, you know, so many of us have had a really, really traumatic time over the past few years. You know, we've had traumatic things happening at a time when the world seems to be, you know, going absolutely nuts. And I think often we don't give ourselves enough credit for that. So I want you to see this practice as a form of self-love, self-care. You know, we're so good at criticizing ourselves, berating ourselves. We're not so good at celebrating and honoring ourselves. And a quote I used the other day is that you cannot do yoga, but what you can do are yoga exercises which help you remove the blocks to yoga. So yoga is a state of unity, a state of union between your mind, your body, your breath, and also the world around you. And we've often had moments of that, haven't you, where it feels like everything is wonderful, you feel really connected to the earth, to everyone around you, to the birds and to the bees and all sorts of things. And that is actually our natural state. Unfortunately, life, ego, etc., pulls us out of that state repeatedly. So the practices that we do are designed to bring us back to that state, to remind us that we are part of the beautiful world around us. So if you think things around you are beautiful and wonderful and amazing, then so too are you. And the affirmation I invite you to bring in today is, I am learning to love all my perfect imperfections. I am learning to love all my perfect imperfections. So remember, with affirmations, I try and use ones that are believable, because the thing is with affirmations, and some people disagree with me on this one, but if, for example, you wanted more money and you were using an affirmation, I'm a millionaire, I am rich, you know, a part of you, it does me anyway, would think, well, that's a load of rubbish, I don't believe that. And if you were to say, I love myself just as I am, that might be too much of a stretch right now. But to say, I'm learning to love, or I'm willing to love all my perfect imperfections, is true. You are willing, you don't need to know how. Just be willing, just be ready, just know that you are learning, and everything is an ongoing journey. So having your hand on your belly, on your heart, is also a way of connecting to your body. This is just a vehicle, you know, we tend to identify with our body as us, but actually it's just a vessel. Doesn't mean to say we can't develop a loving relationship with our body. So as you're lying there, breathing in and out, imagine as you breathe in, breathing into your belly. Keep breathing in a little bit more, breathing into your ribs, and breathing in a little bit more, breathe into your heart space, feel your chest rise a little bit. As you breathe out, soften your chest. Keep breathing out, feel your rib cage contract. Keep breathing out until you feel your belly button really draw in towards the spine. Just taking a few breaths like that. Now I want you to imagine consciously and dynamically breathing, because most of the time breathing is a passive process that we don't really pay much attention to because we don't have to. But I want you to deliberately draw as much oxygen into your body as you can. Imagine squeezing it all out. Exhaling, chest, ribs, belly. Inhaling, belly, ribs, chest. Exhaling, chest, ribs, belly. I am learning to love all my perfect imperfections. Just taking one more breath like that. And on your next in-breath, stretch out your arms, stretch out your legs, full body stretch. As you exhale, draw the knees in towards the chest. And see if you can brace your abs, draw your nose towards your knees without tensing your shoulders. So relax the shoulders, just bring your nose towards your knees, squeeze the tummy in, long, deep breathing. Keep your shoulders relaxed, your head and neck relaxed. And then rock and roll along your spine, giving yourself a bit of a massage for your spine. And next time, come up to sitting. Bring yourself into a sitting position. We're not here for too long, but use a block or bolster or cushion if you need to, so that you're not tensing anywhere. And just circle out your hand. I hear some popping and cracking there. I don't know if you can hear that, but I can hear the popping and cracking in my hands. And around the other way again. Nice full deep breaths in. And breathing all the way out. And just holding one hand out, palm away from you. Pull the fingers back towards you. Relax the shoulder. A nice full deep breath in. And out. Hey, buddy. And the same on the other side, palm away, pulling the fingers towards you. A nice deep breath in and out. And interlink the hands and gently flex and squeeze. You're squeezing one side, squeezing the other. And inhaling and exhaling. And then doing a little twirly whirly, warming up into your wrists. And back the other way. Never seems to work as well, coming back the other way. And just check out the hands. And having your hands palms upwards, you can inhale, make a fist with the thumb outside, spread the fingers out, then make a fist with the thumbs inside, spread the fingers out. And you're going to try and go at a good pace. Thumb in, thumb out. This is good for working your hands. So we don't tend to work the hands and feet as much as the rest of the body, do we? So working those hands, thumbs in, thumbs out. Nice deep breath in and out. You're going to feel your arms working there. Shake that out. Awesome. And then just, again, imagine trying to bring your thumb to the base of your little finger, if possible. If not, just wrap your fingers around your thumbs. And we're going to circle the arms around, almost as if you're trying to take off. Inhale up, exhale around. This is good for opening up the shoulders and activating your heart center and your physical heart as well as your energetic heart. So inhale, exhale. So the more energy you put in, the more you get back. So really imagine it as if you're trying to almost take off and fly up into the air. And I know there will come a time when you start thinking, oh my God, my arms are heavy. This is hard work. Why am I doing this? That's the point. You want to dig deep and keep going, and you will feel more benefit for that. You can take your arms further back behind you than I can, because I've got restricted movement in my shoulders. But if you can go further back, go right ahead, just a few more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and release. Release your hands. Close your eyes. You might feel a nice warm glow across your shoulders, down the tops of your arms. Feel that energy. So some of these exercises are taken from Kundalini Yoga, the yoga of awareness, and they might seem a bit kind of strange, but they work on the energetic body. And the magic happens, if you like, when you go past that point where you're like, oh God, this is too much like hard work, I want to give up. You go past that point, you will be rewarded, as it were. Hey, flumper dumpers. Now we're going to come on to our hands and knees. Sorry, bed. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry, my man. I'm going to come into cat pose. Yes. So you're going to bring your hands under your shoulders. You can either spread your fingers out or have your hands in. Just make sure you're pressing into the whole hand. So press into the heels of the hand, press into the knuckles, into the balls of the fingers, into the tips of the fingers, and just roll the shoulders up, back, and down a couple of times. And as you breathe in, lift your tailbone, draw your heart forward. As you breathe out, tuck your tailbone under. Really lift your belly button, lift your pelvic floor muscles in, press the floor away, and try and bring your chin to touch your collarbones. Stretch the back of the body. Inhale, lead with the tailbone, drop the belly, draw your heart forward. Just lift your chin slightly. So don't lift the chin all the way up, just lift your eye gaze rather than your chin. And exhaling as you arch up, drawing the chin towards the chest, lift through the back of your heart. So as you breathe in, hug your upper arms in towards your ribs. Imagine pulling your hands towards your feet. As you breathe out, imagine pressing your hands down into the mat. And if you wish, as you're doing that, you can shift the weight forward and back a little bit as you do it. And if it feels good to do so, you can maybe go a little bit quicker. But when we speed things up, it's not about kind of throwing yourself around. You're still kind of maintaining good technique, as it were. You're just maybe making it a little bit more dynamic. Remember, practice makes progress. So when your ego starts to come in, that's when you're like, oh, I should be doing blah, 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 blah. Ignore that voice. Listen to your heart. What feels good? And good doesn't necessarily mean easy, simple. You know, it's what feels good. There's a good challenge and there's a not so good challenge where you're pushing beyond your current limits. And inhale, flex, maintain the flex. We're going to come into Anahatasana. If you have blocks or a cushion, or 2 cushions rather, you can use those. I'll just demonstrate. I do like this stretch with bricks or blocks. It gives even more of a stretch across the heart because that's what we're trying to focus on. So if you've got bricks, lift that tailbone, keep your hips over your knees. We're not walking the feet forward, knees forward. You're going to take one hand as far forward as you can, about as wide as the mat. Shift your weight backwards and then slide your other arm out. Again, equal distance, so hands about the edge of the mat, and then start to allow your forehead to drop towards the floor. Now you might find that your forehead's nowhere near the floor to start with, and that's okay. If your shoulders are really tight, take the hands even wider. So if you're quite tight in the shoulders or restricting the shoulders like me, take the hands wider. And even if you can do this with the hands on the floor, try it with bricks, because you get more of a stretch between your shoulders because you're literally a little bit higher up. So to start with, so your head may not touch the floor, that's okay. Just keep breathing, nice deep breaths in and out. So keep going, just stay there while I come up to talk. So you'll feel a stretch across the front of the chest, and with the blocks or bricks, you should feel more of a stretch. So it is actually a back bend. Remember, back bends are about stretching the front of the body. They're not about bending backwards. So imagine opening the front of your heart space, melting your heart down into the floor. Remember, I am learning to love all my perfect imperfections. And as I constantly tell people in class, there is no such thing as a perfect posture. I was teaching a class this morning, and the way I have my hands in a certain pose, the way that feels good for me, did not feel good for her. So I showed her another way, which doesn't work for me, but she, that was good for her. So there is no perfect pose. We're not here to achieve any perfect pose. We're not here to be Instagram worthy. We're here to remove the blocks that prevent us from remembering our natural state. Just make sure you're not collapsing the arms. So the arms stay straight but not rigid. So you lock the elbows but don't bring any tension. Keep lifting that tailbone up. Now you've got a big fluffy tail, and you may find that even if your head was not on the floor to start with, that it starts to find its way to the floor. As long as you can relax the head completely, it doesn't matter if it doesn't touch the floor. And inhaling front of the heart. And exhale, heart melts down towards the mat. Then after your next exhale, lift your head and just start to walk the hands, blocks back in towards you. And come onto your knees. Bring your blocks with you if you have them. And then just tuck your toes under here. If you've got any rebellious toes, then free them. And just take a moment here in this posture to stretch out the toes. We're going to come into one of my favorite poses, Ustrasana, camel pose. Now, one of the reasons we struggle with back bends, and I prefer to call them heart openers, because when we say back bend, we try and have the image of bending backwards. Whereas you think of heart opening, the movement comes from opening the front of the body. So that stretch we just did on the floor, Anahatasana, is a back bend. It's a heart opener. And one of the reasons we struggle with back bends is because all our daily movements are that way. We're hunched at a desk, or we're driving, or we're eating, or whatever. And so we get stiff. It's physically challenging to open up. And the other thing is, if you do a back bend incorrectly, it will probably hurt. And so next time you come into one, you might be kind of like tensing, thinking, oh God, this is going to hurt, it's going to hurt. So forget about back bend. Think of heart lifting, heart opening, almost like someone's got a bit of string attached to your sternum, and then lifting. In fact, do a couple of little flexes here, like cat flexes. Your toes might be starting to get warm. Breathing in and out. I quite like this pose, but I like it when I come out of it. It gives your toes a great stretch, but it's great when you come out. So this is a back bend, it's a heart opener. This is in effect a forward bend, stretching the back of the body. Breathing in and out. And come back to neutral. Bring your hands onto your waist. We're going to come up to a kneeling position. I want you to use your legs to lift you up. So you're going to tuck the tailbone under, so your thighs are lifting slightly off your legs, and you'll feel your thighs working. Then drive the hips forward, and then start to puff out your chest. Imagine you've got a drawstring attached to your elbows, and they're being pulled together. We could actually even try that one day with a belt to open up through the chest. Now, I used to take the head back in this pose, and it used to feel good. Nowadays, for some reason, it doesn't. So I tend to just keep my chin tucked in and focus on the rest of the body. So squeeze your butt. Really important to squeeze your butt. If you relax it and you're just lifting, that's when you might end up compressing. So squeeze your bum, push your hips forward a little bit. Try and imagine lifting your floating ribs. Lift your sternum. Oh, no, we're not there yet, are we? We're here. Hands to waist. Keep pulling the elbows back. Inhaling up the front of the body. Exhaling down the back of the body. So imagine opening the front of the heart, and imagine drawing the back of the heart forward. Then to come down, tuck your tailbone under, brace your abs. Come all the way down. If you need to, untuck the toes for a moment. Bring your hands onto your thighs again. And just doing a little spine flex, dynamic spine flex. Inhale, exhale. Head stays in a neutral position. Great for warming up the spine a little bit more. 3, 2, 1, and release. Again, tuck your toes under. If you've got arthritis or anything and your toes really don't appreciate being tucked under, you can do this with flat feet. Again, tuck the tailbone under, drive up. Using your thighs, lift your floating ribs, lift your chest. Either pull the elbows back or clasp the hands, roll the shoulders back. Imagine stretching the hands down towards the floor. So often when we clasp hands, people are in a rush to lift the arms up, but you could just end up like shrugging shoulders around the ears. So focus on stretching down, squeezing arms and shoulder blades together, stretching down, lifting chest. So inhale, lift chest. Exhale, squeeze shoulders, stretch them down. So you start to feel that stretch in the front of the body. Keep squeezing your bum, pushing the hips forward. It's a great antidote for depression or low mood, camel pose. And then release, tuck the tailbone under as you come back down. Now we can try that having your blocks. Bricks are good for this because you can turn them lengthways and put them around where your heels, and hands on the waist, tuck the tailbone under, drive forward, push your hips forward, lift your belly button, lift your floating ribs, lift your sternum, press your elbows back. Again, keep squeezing your glutes, bring your head to whatever works for you. You can either stay here, or again, you can clasp the hands here, or you can find your blocks. So there's a little bit of weight on the hands, but you're not leaning. You can lift off. So if this is too much or there's any pinching in your back, then come back to one of the first positions. I'm just taking 2 more breaths here. But I am learning to love my perfect imperfections. Gently release, tuck the tailbone under, come down, untuck the toes, and just rest the hands on your lap for a moment. And from here, come up onto your hands and knees, and add padding under the knees if you need to. Step, not your hands and knees, sorry, your knees. Step your right foot forward, feet least hip width apart. I'm drawing that right hip back towards you. So you're not, because what I sometimes do is I kind of sometimes lift that hip, so drop that hip down so your hips are level. Lengthen through the tailbone, almost as if you're tucking the tailbone under rather than sticking it back. And if you're not quite sure, you can kind of tuck and tilt a few times to notice how that feels and try and find more of a lengthened position. So you don't want to quite tuck, but you don't want to tilt either. You want to try and find a point in the middle. Inhale, lift and lengthen through the crown of the head, relax the shoulders, and lift your eye gaze to the top of the wall, so you're not leaning forward. So again, this is a heart opener. Inhale, expand, lift through your chest. Exhale, keeping all that in place as you come forward into the lunge. If when you get here, you find this knee is way over the toes, like that, then you can wiggle the foot forward. You can come up a little bit, you can draw the right hip back towards you, lengthen through your tailbone. Imagine hugging the thighs into the midline. Now lift chest and exhale as we come forward. So again, I want to think of opening, expanding your heart space. Hug the thighs in as if you had a ball or something between your knees and you're hugging in. Spreading out the toes, again, opening through the chest. Bring your palms in front of you, bring your thumbs and index finger together, then open the arms out. So palms are up, feel that opening in the front of the chest. So again, imagine lifting the back of your heart forward on the in-breath, and on the out-breath, melt your shoulders down away from your ears. So don't just hang out here. Activate the legs. So imagine pushing the foot into the mat as if you're about to come upright. Squeezing your butt. And hugging your thigh bones and shin bones with the thigh muscles, calf muscles. Eye gaze lifted, but you're not dropping the chin back. You're just lifting the eye gaze slightly. There's no strain in the chin. And after your next exhale, release, ease off, and bring that knee back. Stepping the left foot forward. Again, make sure the feet are at least hip width apart. And just kind of tuck and tilt the pelvis a couple of times. You'll notice different stretch on your hip flexors. And try and find that point where you're drawing that left hip back and you're lengthening through the tailbone. Inhale, lift your chest so it feels like you're almost leaning backwards. And then exhale, coming forward, spreading out the toes, pressing into that front foot, shoulders relax. Again, you're opening out through your heart, actively pressing the back foot into the floor. So it's almost like a camel with the back part of your body in that open extension. And you can either keep your hands on the waist or on the thigh, or take the hands out in front, thumb and index finger together, open the arms out, almost taking them back a little bit. So you start to feel a stretch across the front of your chest. Full deep breaths in and out. And after your next exhale, release the hands, ease back, and bring the foot back. Bring yourself into a sitting position. I did have a cushion, but Flumps has taken over it. So bring yourself into Ardha Siddhasana, lotus pose, or some other position that your spine is nice and upright. So use a cushion. If there's any tension around your hips, then use a chair. But it's more important what your upper body is doing. So lengthening up without any kind of tension. We're going to do a little meditation, Kundalini meditation. So with your left hand, bring the elbow into your side, hold the palm up, almost as if you're kind of like taking an oath. I want you to imagine drawing oxygen, energy, prana, life force in through that hand. You might feel warmth, you might feel tingling sensation in that hand. With your right hand, bring it up about an inch above your head, palm facing down. You're going to close your eyes and you're going to focus your inner gaze on your chin. So turning your gaze down to your chin, shoulders relaxed. And imagine a circuit of energy. So imagine energy coming in through your heart space, and it flows up your right arm, comes down through the crown of your head. Then that energy flows down your left arm and out through the left hand, out into the space around you. So it's an ongoing give and take of love, of energy. You can imagine that energy, maybe it has a color. Maybe it's pink or red or green, or maybe it's like pure white light. Just imagine it flowing into your heart space. Each time you breathe in, you're breathing in that golden light or that pink light energy. It's flowing from your heart space along your right arm, down through the crown, down through your third eye, through your throat, down, back down to your heart space. Then from there, it flows out along your left arm, out through the palm of your left hand. It's starting to fill the space around you. And there will come a time when you'll start thinking, oh, my arms are aching, blah, 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 blah. Just observe. Observe that, relaxing the shoulders, just simply observing with curiosity. Maintain long, deep breathing. You can imagine your aura, or always imagine like a giant Zorb ball, as if you're in a big circle. That's your aura, just a little bit further than arm's length away all around. Imagine that space and imagine you filling that space with this loving, potent, healing energy. So again, if it's got a color, then you're filling the space around you. So if it's a pink color, for example, or green associated with the heart chakra, then it could be filling your aura with green light energy. Or if it's just pure white energy, or maybe it looks like sparkling filaments of light, like glitter. Whatever it is, imagine it filling the space around you, filling your aura. You might start to feel tingling sensations in your hands or other parts of your body. You might start to feel warmth, as if you can literally physically feel the energy around you. Imagine your arms are like soft clouds, weightless. And start to imagine that energy filling the whole room around you. So as you breathe in, imagine your heart center, your heart space being absolutely filled with energy. So feel or visualize that energy flowing up your right arm. Feel or visualize it flowing down through the crown of your head, down into your body, then flowing out through that right hand. Just filling the space around you with healing, loving energy. Take another nice deep breath in and out. And extending the arms out in front of you. Have your left hand palm up, your right hand palm down. So arms are level with your heart space. Again, eyes closed. Eye gaze down towards your chin. Again, this is working your physical heart and your energetic heart. Imagine drawing energy from the earth, from the cosmos, from the heavens, and sending it back out into the earth, into the heavens, giving and receiving the whole cycle of life. As you breathe in, you're receiving. As you breathe out, you're giving. So yes, your arms might start to feel heavy. They may even start to shake. But again, try and go past that point where you really want to give up. Imagine your arms are just made of air, particles of energy, transparent, your whole body transparent. One more breath in. As you breathe out, start to face your hands towards each other and then tense as if you're drawing energy in, as if you're squeezing it, pressing it in to your heart space. You're drawing that energy in through the center of your chest. Release the hands. You can stay here, or if you need to, if you wish, bring yourself down onto the floor into Shavasana. Grab any props or whatever that you may need. Cushions, blankets, whatever you may need. And you can go back if you wish to where we started. The left hand on belly, right hand on heart. Soften and close your eyes. And taking time to notice how you're feeling now compared to when we started. Remembering, if we see our practice as a practice, not a perfect, then we can also start to see it as more of a act of nourishment, of self-love, rather than kind of self-punishment. I had someone come to one of my classes recently, and she was disappointed it wasn't more challenging, and she didn't like this and she didn't like that. And actually, afterwards, I really realized that the things she said she didn't like were things that actually she probably really needed. It was almost like some people use their practice just as any other physical exercise as almost a means of punishment. It's like, oh, if I don't sweat or I don't feel, achy, or I don't feel it the next day, I haven't done enough. And that's not what yoga's about. It's not about pushing more to your mental limit and then stretching that limit. It's not about achieving a certain size or shape or anything like that. So it's not even about achieving a perfect pose. The poses are all a means to aligning your body so that you can feel the strongest, the healthiest, the happiest version of yourself. And remembering that everything changes, especially as we get older. I used to like more kind of dynamic practices. Now I prefer the kind of subtler practices, the practices that make me turn inward. So seeing your practice as a form of self-care, not as something you have to do as punishment for something you ate. I am learning to love all my perfect imperfections. And remember that you are worthy of love, of being loved, and most of all from yourself. Loving yourself. It doesn't mean you think you're perfect, doesn't mean you think you're better than anyone. It's just that you remember that you are someone too. So just as you would treat someone you love with love and respect and care and compassion, so too, start to treat yourself that way. Now you may decide to stay a while longer, and that's okay. Stay as long as you need. Or if you're ready to end your practice, start to stretch out your arms and legs, moving in whatever way feels good. Oh yeah, for you right now. Always moving like you've got all the time in the world. There's no rush. And when you do, come back up. Rub your palms together. Feel that warmth, that heat, that energy. When you can feel that, place your hands over your heart center. Feel that warmth, that energy entering in through your heart space. Just mentally affirming, I am wisdom. I am life. I am love. I am divine intelligence. I am wisdom. I am life. I am love. I am divine intelligence. Bring your hands to your heart, heart to your hands. Take a little bow to seal your practice. Namaste. Enjoy the rest of your day, whatever time of night or day it is. If you have any questions, any comments, please let me know. And I hope you enjoyed this as much as I have enjoyed sharing with you.